Friend, Shabbat Shalom. It's really nice to see everyone here. And I did something, I might be getting into trouble. I made it a little colder this week than it was last week. I think that was a good decision. Yeah. See how we just get along here. We adjust to our diversity. We're a good congregation. The last, I think, 6 weeks, as a kind of break from what I've normally been doing, because of some conversations that we've been having about, what's our prayer book about? How does the prayer book connect to who we are? What's the meaning of the prayer book? What do the prayers mean? I've been doing this series where I've been talking about different prayers and to give a little bit of perspective on them. And some of the prayers are more difficult than others to explain. I think this week it's pretty straightforward. And one of the things I've discovered in doing this, I've been reflecting upon the fact of, what's the big picture here beyond learning about the prayers, which is in and of itself, I think, important, because how do you worship if we don't know what we're actually doing here? Okay? And one of the frustrations that I have going to congregations that are more traditional is the fact that I know, and this is not a criticism, it's just an observation, really, that I know that some of the passionate worship that's taking place is being done by people who really don't know what the words of the prayers mean. And I always think about that. What's that experience like if you're chanting through the prayers and you really don't understand the deep meaning of the prayers or haven't really reflected on what the prayer means and blah, 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 blah. So what we're doing here is we're bringing a kind of mindfulness to our Judaism. What are we actually doing? I mean, that I think is a very intelligent, thoughtful way of approaching Judaism, and certainly in our own congregation. So that being said is, one of the tensions in modern Judaism is between the universal and the particular. In other words, what should be our focus as Jews? Should we be concerned about the universalism, the entire world, the needs of the entire world, all people, everyone? Or should our direction be towards the particular concerns and needs of the Jewish people and the challenges that they face? In truth, this polarity, this back and forth, is the essence of who we are. It's not one or the other. It's a kind of tension. In the first 2 weeks when we were doing this analysis of our prayer book, the first prayer that we did was Ma'ariv Aravim. If you remember about that, that was a prayer that deals with God who creates the world, a world that we all inhabited. And then the next paragraph, the second prayer that follows, is a prayer about God's gift of the Torah to the Jewish people, something incredibly particular. And it's set up that way to create a balance. We Jews think about the universal, and we Jews think about the particular. Now, every week, at the very end of the Amidah, Becky and Nathan offer a variation on the prayer that we are talking about this evening, Shalom Rav, which is we have different melodies. There's one melody I don't like. You love.
I'm sorry, I thought you wanted an example.
I'm trying to purge that. I'm trying to purge it from the. I think it is such a cheesy version of it. But okay. I know everyone disagrees with me. Life is tough, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so the text, it deals with the idea of what is peace. And so I'm going to read to you the most traditional version of it, which is, you'll tell me what it means to you. And of course, I have the wrong version of it here, but I can get around this. Let's see here. I'll get it from another prayer book. This is the prayer. It says, grant abundant and lasting peace to your people. For you are, may you implant, no, how do I say this? May you, God, who is who gives peace to all, make peace a blessing for your nation of Israel in all times and in all hours with peace. Blessed are you, God, who blesses your people Israel with peace. So one of the things that we know from that is, it's not talking about the world. It's talking about God, give us peace. Give the Jewish people peace. Give us rest. And maybe the implication is that perhaps we live in a hostile world, but I'm not convinced that's what it's about. It's a very particular prayer. And one of the things that we know is that there's a midrash, there's a rabbinic statement that summarizes it beautiful. Great is peace, for all blessings are contained in it. Great is peace, for God's name is peace. In other words, if our religious system doesn't work towards peace, we have a problem. Now, let me give you a real example, and thank goodness that's not a problem in our congregation, but it is a problem in some congregations. Synagogue should be a place of peace. I mean, let's face it, a place where we feel a sense of commonality. But we are aware of congregations where, unfortunately, where there are disagreements, and one of the things that I've discovered, I guess I have a sense of it because of my own life experience of being in synagogues all over the world and being a rabbi and just having a sense of it, is that you can have a beautiful worship by a beautiful choir, cantor, prayer leaders. You can have a rabbi giving a nice message, transmitting something, I think, positive. But if there isn't harmony in the air, there is no God present. And I have been in congregations, we know it, where you can walk in and say, something is going on here, and I don't know what it is, but I can feel it. And I can tell you, if people feel that too long, they don't come back, because you don't want to come to synagogue feeling that you don't have that sense of peace and harmony. And that's one of the reasons I always say nothing is worth a rift in a congregation about anything. Because if you don't have peace, what do you have? So we've looked at the original text. Bless Israel with peace. This is a prayer of particularism. God, out of your special relationship with us, grant us peace. And from our point of view, from the Reformed point of view, that version is a red flag because it doesn't reflect how we understand the world. It seems that the Reformed Jews are very dedicated to the reality that we want peace for Israel, but we want peace for the world. It's not an either or, but we don't understand how you can have one or the other. The Reformed Jews don't have a sense that you can only talk about Jewish particularism without talking about Jewish universalism. You can't talk about the Jewish experience without understanding the experience of all humankind. And that's a tension that you find within Reformed Judaism. Let me share with you a very nice version of this prayer that is found in the conservative movement. And as I showed you, this is where my dog of blessed memory ate the. So evidently, Ella of blessed memory did not like conservative Judaism. Or liked it a lot. I look at it as I'm never giving away this prayer book. So here's the deal. So this is what their prayer of peace says. They say, Shalom Rav HaYisrael Amcha, give great peace to your nation Israel. But then it says, very beautifully, V'akol Yoshvei Tevel, and all who dwell on earth. It addresses the universal. Wait a minute, there's got to be peace for everyone on earth. May it please you to bless your people Israel with your gift of peace. And then the closer is, blessed art you who blesses your people Israel with peace. So they keep it particular, but then they throw in this beautiful phrase saying, we're very much aware that we have to be cognizant of the outside world. But then, and I'm going to use this, I'm going to find a way to use it in our prayer book. They have here a beautiful poem written by Rabbi Tamara Cohn, who takes this idea of peace and just makes it so personal. Tell me what your reaction is. And so what's supposed to happen is that when you're using this prayer book, it's appropriate if you're drifting to go and read this prayer. Listen what Rabbi Tamar Cohn says. It's so beautiful. She said, spread your peace over us like a vast quilt crafted by strong and patient hands. Plant it deep within us like a million seeds claiming life in its heart's moist soil. Grant it now to those born your people, to those who have walked winding paths to become so, to those still burdened by history, to those with no memory of want or fear. Grant a generous peace to those who reach for it through the steady breath of the body, to those who grasp it in a child home, from the reserves, to those on the streets for the rights of others, to those on guard for the safety of their own, with abundant gentle blessing. Master of peace, kiss all of us goodnight. Now, I think she wrote it from the point of view of Israel, but there's something really beautiful about that, so I'm going to give that a gold star for this evening. And I don't usually give the conservative prayer book a gold star. No, not because I'm against it, because I don't really think it does good. Okay, so let's look at the Reform movement. This is the British Reform prayer book, and they come up with something really very nice. They say, let your people Israel and all people have perfect peace forever. V'al kol ha'amim, mean all nations, are sovereign of all peace. For it is your will that your children be blessed at every hour and every moment with your peace. It says, et habriot, which means all of humankind. It doesn't talk about Israel, it talks about all people. We praise you, O Lord, author of peace. Okay, so what about the old Union prayer book? Bobby, this is the one that you like, okay? The old-fashioned one. It doesn't even have this prayer in it. That's how good your prayer book is. I'm serious. I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist. You make it, I know you love the prayer book, but it doesn't have some of the prayers we need. Okay, okay, let's go to what we do. And I must say that I very much find what we do to be a beautiful rendition of it, balancing all the things that we've just spoken about. It says, we read it every week. It says, grant us peace, your most precious gift, eternal source of peace, and enable our people to be its messenger to all the world. Bless our country that it may ever be a pursuer of peace and its advocate in the Council of Nations. They threw that in out of nowhere, but it's nice. I mean, it has nothing to do with what the blessing is. But they wanted to throw in our country, harmony in the world. I think that's a really nice thing they did. It's not traditional, but it adds a layer. It says, may contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and harmony among the inhabitants of all lands. That is a total new insertion, but to affirm what I said before. Yeah, we want peace, but we look for peace for the whole world. We're never going to get anything out of life unless we look at this as a universal longing. And then, at the end it says, we praise you, O God, giver of peace. Not specifically saying a peace that comes to Israel. It's a God who creates peace for all humankind. I like the universalism of that. Now, we always keep talking about this Mishkan Tefillah, the new prayer book of the Reform movement, and is it good? Is it bad? What is it? What isn't it? Let me share with you what they do with it. And I think that I can't figure out what they're doing here. Basically, they have erased 100 years of Reform Jewish theology and gone back to the traditional version. Isn't that interesting? They've gone back to a place where, why do you go back when we've made progress the right way? I don't know who wrote I don't know the people who created this prayer book, so I'm just reporting, reading it. I don't know anything about the background. But it says here, in Hebrew, the tradition. Great is God's love of the peace on the people of the nation of Israel. Place upon you are the great king, and give peace to all, and please make aware to yourself. That's kind of what it says, to bless the people of Israel in all times. Blessed are you, hamivarechet amo Yisrael b'shalom. Blessed are you who bless the nation of Israel with peace. Now, they translate it differently, but I don't know what they're doing here. I don't want anyone advocating how great this is. I don't understand what it's doing. Okay, so sorry for those of you who like the prayer book. I'm just giving you an honest rendition of it, and I have no skin in the game. I'm just telling you the truth. Okay, now how is this relevant to us? Today is Rosh Chodesh Elul, which is the beginning of the month before the high holidays. And what do the high holidays mean? It's time to examine the fragmentation of our lives and of our world. Not just the world, but not just our relationship with God, but throughout the year, things get broken. We disconnect from our goals and our ideals. Friendships become strained or neglected. Families become fractured horribly. And often we feel out of balance. So as we confront these high holidays at this time, and it's a month away and you have to prepare for it, I think this prayer is so incredibly important. Because what it's saying is, in the end, if we don't balance things or rebalance things, if we don't reharmonize things, if we don't seek healing and reconciliation in all of its forms, this great peace can never be achieved. I think this prayer, whatever variation that you believe in, although the Noor variation is certainly the best, and I say that really sincerely, this prayer should be a guidepost for all of us. As we know, the word peace comes from the root shin lamed mem, that means to complete, to bring wholeness. So I pray for shlemut, to bring wholeness to our lives, to our community, to our congregation. Wherever we need harmony, let's find a way to achieve it.